Welcome to this edition of the Simsbury View. My name is Dominique Avery. Our show this month is about Simsbury's Adventure Triathlon, now in its 6th year. If you're thinking you already know all about it, you would be wrong. There are lots of changes this year, and here to tell you all about them are my guests, Andrea Buono, the race director, and Patty Smith-Jacobus, the director of Simsbury Free Bike and co-chair of the Simsbury Bike Pedestrian Advisory Committee. I'm so glad to have you both here again this year. And we're going to talk about a lot of changes. And Andrea, I wanted to start with you. What are the biggest changes? What are people going to notice?
Well, for this year, this first time we are offering a duathlon as well.
Duathlon is?
In addition to the triathlon.
So tell us what that is.
So the duathlon is a run, bike, run. We will be using the same course as we do for the triathlon. It will be a 3.5 mile run, the 12-mile bike, which is the same bike course as we had in the past for the triathlon. And then instead of going in the kayak as the triathletes do, they will be going running back through the meadows, back to the finish line. The
so
same
it's
run course, but
it's still
in the opposite direction.
Three pieces to it,
Correct.
But only two kinds of pieces.
Right. It's a duathlon because it's a run and a bike. And in addition to that, we're offering a kids' fun run this year, which is just a lap around the soccer fields. So we'd like to get more families involved. And then also for those parents who, usually if there's children, only one parent can race and the other parent has to stay with the children. This year we're offering free babysitting for anybody. So if both parents would like to participate in the race, they can, because we're offering those babysitting services.
So are you doing that at the Performing Arts Center?
Yes, it all will be held at the Performing Arts Center.
That means a married couple could do this together.
Correct.
Yeah. You haven't been able to do that unless they left the children home with the grandparents, I guess. So you also have a date change.
Yes, this year we're offering the race on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo theme. And we're also starting the race a little bit earlier. In the past we had started at 11 o'clock. In the morning we're starting now at 9 a.m., all at the Performing Arts Center.
Was there a reason for the time change?
Well, we just felt that with the 11 o'clock start time in the morning, it's kind of a difficult time, and it runs later in the afternoon, so it doesn't really free up anybody's afternoon, which a lot of triathletes and really are a little. They like their afternoons, to say that. They rather get in, race, and then get home.
So how, when you have these three parts and you start at 9, how long does it take most people to finish the 3 parts of the course?
For an average racer, about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Not longer than that.
So then everybody comes back to the Performing Arts Center, and I know you have sort of give out some prizes and sort of have a little party. I saw something about a swag bag. So what happens there at the very end?
Yeah, so this year, since it is a Cinco de Mayo theme, we decided to have some Mexican food at the end there. We'll be offering beer for anyone over the age of 21. Everything will be held right there at the Performing Arts Center.
So,
and that's where we'll be giving out finishing prizes and awards.
So the reason for the duathlons, just doing the running and the biking, was that there were people who didn't like the kayaking part? Is that?
Well, we just felt that if not everybody enjoys kayaking or traditional triathlon swimming. So there are a lot of people that participate in a duathlon, so we thought we would draw more people in and give them that option. Also keeps the price down for them as well if they don't have a kayak. For them, we do offer kayak rentals from Collinsville Canoe and Kayak, and the rentals are $35 a boat, which I will talk a little bit more about later. But yeah, so it just, some people just steer away from that, so at least.
So this will you think it'll expand the number of people who want to participate?
And I think younger people as well, because there are more teenagers that are able to cycle and run. So I think it'll bring in more younger people in.
Well, kayaking is yet another.
It is.
Well, duathlons too are very popular, and there's actually a void in the market. We had a large duathlon event that went on for how many years in the state of Connecticut that's no longer operating. So we think that this might help fill some of that void too.
Well, that's interesting. So, Patty, we talked earlier. We talked about the proceeds from the race, and so where are they going this year? And maybe that can take us in a sort of direction of the park.
This is actually a Town of Simsbury event. Culture Parks and Rec underwrites it. They handle, our website and all the registration for participants. And any proceeds that we collect from the race will go back into our hiking and biking trails in town. In addition to the new park that will be evolving over the next year down by the Flower Bridge.
So I'm sure that there are some people who are watching us who may not have heard yet that the Flower Bridge is going to be closed this summer from June on because they're building a park there and taking down the house. So that's where you start the kayak thing, though. You started that already. It's on the side of that house, right?
Yes.
So, but next year it's going to be
Well, we don't know
improved?
about next year yet, but right now, the bikes and the kayaks are located down in that area by the Flower Bridge. And the Flower Bridge will be open during our triathlon. They won't close it for
Till June.
construction until the end of June.
Right.
So it will be available. And what's nice about it is that is a spectacular viewing point for spectators to come and watch people run, bike, and kayak. So that will be open for the triathlon.
And it's always, and especially this year, it's a little bit earlier than usual. There are no flowers yet.
But still
So-
a great view.
Yeah, no, it's a great view from there, but there's no danger of people hurting the flowers in the flower boxes, which I
No,
always
it's a little bit
worry about.
early with frost in May.
Right,
I
they don't
think
plant
that-
until,
right.
I don't even know if they're actually going to plant
Probably
anything
not this year.
Probably not. So if people are watching or know people out of town who are interested, can they register already and can they register on site? So let's talk about registration.
All right, well, I suggest that, registration goes up in price March 17th.
So people could go now online and
Yes,
register already?
registration is open. So I suggest people register early, so it's a little bit less expensive for them. We do offer race day registration as well. You can find the registration off our website, which is trysimsbury.com. There's a link to the registration right there. You can register as an individual or as a team, and the team it doesn't have to necessarily be 3 people. It could be a 2-man team. And there's also a place for those who want to volunteer on our registration page, that if they just want to come in and help out that day, they can just...
Big shout out for our volunteers.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
this event runs with some superb volunteers. We're very lucky that we get a lot of people returning year after year, but with a date change between college graduations and a lot of other personal events, we are still looking for more volunteers along the bike course and along the running course. So you can sign up online at trysimsbury.com.
So tell us a little bit about what the volunteers do and what kind of talents you need to have to be a volunteer.
Yeah, well, first of all, the race can run without a volunteer. I mean, it's really up to the volunteers to help make it a successful day. Patty organizes the bike course, and she can always use a lot of volunteers along the bike course. She does
what
an
do they
amazing
do?
job with that.
Well, the key on the bike course is to keep cyclists safe. So they make sure that the traffic is not an issue. They work very closely with Simsbury Police Department at all the major intersections. Certain roads are closed off during the race, but they're dressed in orange, obviously. They've got a flag, and they make sure people are off the bike trail where that portion of the race runs on the trail. The key is safety for athletes.
So that's for biking,
then we
kayaking
also-
and running. What
Yes,
do
we
they
also
do there?
need volunteers along the run course to man the water table stations to make sure the athletes go the correct way on the course. So they're there to direct them. Or even sometimes, if someone's running, they may have a question or an issue, so the volunteer can address that. And then as far as also with the bike course, where they transition where they keep their bikes, we need a lot of volunteers in there just to make sure they're safe, their bikes are racked correctly. that, they have all their gear, and to watch the bicycles as well, to police them. And then on the kayak, we need help putting the kayaks in the water, taking the kayaks out. We have a lifeguard out there. We need a volunteer lifeguard to sit and make sure, we'll keep an eye on everything. Mark, who is on our committee, he also goes to the turnaround point on the kayak, make sure everyone is safe, reaches that turnaround portion. So it's just numerous.
So there's also safety things that people who are in the kayaks need to wear a life vest?
We like everyone to have a life vest. So and also on the bicycle, you have to have a helmet or you cannot participate.
And no earbuds.
No earbuds.
It's a DQ.
No.
DQ if you have earbuds or no helmet.
Yeah, there's that story about the young man hiking somewhere who got attacked by a mountain lion, and he did not have earbuds on, and he said that saved his life because he heard a twig crack. And
It's a safety issue.
It's, not only for yourself, but for other races as well.
So the kayaking starts at the Flower Bridge and goes towards the Pinchot Sycamore?
It goes up 1 mile, and then you turn around and then come back, and then you exit the kayak at the boathouse there, the high school boathouse.
With the high school boathouse,
yes.
Okay.
And like I said, there's a team of volunteers that were there to bring up your kayak for you safely. And they watch all the kayaks as well and make sure.
So they leave the kayak there at the boathouse, and then you come back later and
then
drive there and
yes.
pick it up.
And as far as the kayaks, I would like to mention as well, like I said, Collinsville Canoe and Kayak is our sponsor for the kayak portion of the race. You can rent a kayak from them for $35, and they will deliver it to the Flower Bridge and bring it back. So you don't have to worry about that.
And our sponsor for the children's race is Simsbury CrossFit. This year, they're underwriting the children's race.
CrossFit's up in the north end of
Yes,
town
they
there,
are.
right, where Wagner Ford used to be.
They're a long-standing sponsor for the triathlon. They're very supportive.
Yes, and Bicycle Seller is our sponsor for our bike portion of the race. And if anybody needs anything, even if they need a bike rental, if they don't have a bicycle, they can rent it right from them.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, starting March 1st, which is today actually, they're going to be running a special for tune-ups, and I'll be posting that on our Instagram account. So you can find us on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram under Try Simsbury.
So we talked about volunteers. Do you have a number of how many volunteers you need? Or you normally get 100?
For the bike?
For the bike, I think we had about 25. So I think we're down right now about 10. So I could use another 10 people.
So you need 10 for the bike,
Yep.
and
then for the run and the kayaks, well, we have the Boy Scouts that help us out.
Boy Scout troop is helping
And
us
the
out.
ABC club that
Yeah.
helps out. So we're usually good with that. We just need some adult supervision, at least 4 adults. And for transition area, I'd like at least another 4 or 5. And then on the bike course, I could use at least 5.
so you're talking 50, 60 people? Somewhere around
40
there?
or 50, yeah. The more the better.
You can never
because
have too
You can
many.
never have too many volunteers.
And if people want to volunteer, but they say, I haven't the slightest idea how to do any of these things, do you teach them, you train them?
Yes. We usually we have a volunteer meeting.
Yeah.
To just let them know. We also need race day registration volunteers,
Yeah.
people to help clean up afterwards.
But a lot of that work actually takes place at Iron Horse Trike and E-Bike, or where Simsbury Free Bike is, right at Iron Horse Boulevard. I think we have our packet pickup there, and all volunteers, at least for the bike course, meet there in the morning, and they get all their equipment. They get their flag and their vest, and we talk about where they're going to be located, and they get pre-race documentation via email before that too.
So now that's where, in the bottom part of the old Andes.
Andes building, yes.
Right,
Yeah.
opposite the Performing Arts
Correct.
Center,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So we talked about the number of volunteers. How many participants do you normally get?
Well, this year we would bring having the duathlon. We're shooting for well over 100 participants this year.
And what proportion of participants are local, Simsbury, or in the state, or outside of the state?
Last year we had quite a few people, not we had a few out of state, a small handful, but from a lot of other towns. I believe a lot of triathletes like this race because it is so early in the season. It's a good way to start off.
Good warm up.
Yeah, their training and get ready for other races during the season. And like I said, the attraction is that kayak portion for a lot of them. It's fun, with a field run, a beautiful bike ride through Simsbury, and then being able to get in the kayak. It's a different type of race.
Yeah, triathlons in May in Connecticut, if you're a swimmer, could be pretty darn cold. So having an event like a triathlon early in the season that has a kayak portion of it, it gets the triathlon, the first triathlon of the year under their belt, but no cold water.
It's perfect because there's the new half Ironman now coming to town in Middlebury, so this would be a great way to train for that, which I know it's going to attract a lot of people.
So,
and that's in June. That's in the beginning of June.
Okay, so you mentioned training. So, Andrea, you're also a nutritional consultant and educator, and if there are viewers who want to start preparing to train for this, what would you suggest they start doing now, sort of in terms of eating and exercise, if they want to train?
Yeah, that's a very generalized question, but I would say yes, definitely clean up your diet right now. We're done with the holidays. Just eat, like I always say, eat whole, real foods. You may want to increase your protein intake a little bit because all your muscle fibers are getting broken down through the training. But it's important just to get in. We haven't had nice days to get out and cycle, so to get in the gym or get your bike on a trainer and start increasing your time on the bicycle. It is a 12-mile bike, and so it's a doable distance. It's a comfortable distance, but it's nice to just get those memory in your legs going again with the cycle.
Yeah, and it's not too early. I mean, it's not too early to have your bike tuned up for the season.
Right.
I think your equipment is as important as your training. You really have to have a bike that's all tuned up. So I would do that earlier rather than later because the shops get very, very busy as we get closer to race day.
And yes. And since it is a kayak and not a swim, triathletes don't have to worry so much about getting in the pool, which isn't always easy. But just start working your upper body, get that upper body strength
for the kayak.
And running, we've actually had some pretty decent days to get out there running. And I like to tell people to do a bike and then a run afterwards, so they get used to that feeling of getting off your bike and then running, because it can be a weird feeling.
Different muscles. Right?
Yeah, so even if you're inside or you're on your trainer or in a gym, if you're in a gym, it's easier because you can just jump off the bike and go on a treadmill. But if you're home, you can spin on your bike and just go outside for a short, even if it's a half-mile run, just to get used to that feeling.
Totally off topic here. Simsbury's going to be celebrating its 350th anniversary next year. And that's kicking off in May 2020. So it occurred to me, are you guys thinking ahead, thinking about something special for next year? Or?
Well, our Bike Ped Committee just got news about the events that are being put together by the Tourism Committee and the Historic Society. So as we learn more about it, obviously we're a biking community, and many of the things that they've got planned, we're hoping that we can create bike rides to and from some of these events that they're putting on.
And another thing that I wanted to discuss with you is we got renamed as a silver.
We did. We just received documentation that we're designated again. Yep.
So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Simsbury was the first silver bike-friendly community in the state of Connecticut, and every 4 years you have to resubmit information about what you've done to encourage biking, to create an infrastructure that's safe for cyclists, and there are lots of criteria. And the Bike Ped Committee, along with the town, Tom Roy, who's our bike coordinator for the town, we all worked together and put together an application, and we came back as getting a silver once again. But over the next year, I think you're going to see a lot going on by the town to improve some of our trail issues, some of the crossings. We're going to get some new trailhead signals. We're going to be adding a new section of trail. We're going to be doing some repaving on 309 for the shared use path. So the town has a lot coming up over the next year, and this is in anticipation of 4 years from now applying for bike friendly again. Hopefully we'll bump it up to gold.
So applying for the silver, we've talked about this before,
Mm-hmm.
but just, I mean, I've heard that it's a huge notebook.
It
that you have to-
is.
what
There is
has
a
to-
lot
What
of-
do you put in there?
Well, the League of American Bicyclists is the group that evaluates towns to say how you're doing, whether you're meeting certain criteria. The goal really is to get more people biking and more people on bikes feeling safe when they bike. So what your town is doing about connectivity, it's one thing to have a trail in town, which is lovely and well taken care of, but you don't want families to have to get in their car every time they want to get on the trail. You want connections from Terrafil and from West Simsbury and from Weetog so people can actually get on their bike out the door of their house to either commute or bike for recreation. So we've done a lot of work, and we created the Bike Ped Master Plan this year, and a lot of those connectivity issues have been addressed. There's safety issues, there's engineering. We do a lot of work in the Simsbury schools. All of our PE teachers have been trained. They went through a Train the Trainer program. 4, 5, and 6, and I think maybe even into junior high school this year, have on-bike, bike safety education in their PE classes. All the elementary schools, most of them have a bike to school program. So they want to see what you're doing as far as education, what kind of encouragement programs you have in town, your engineering initiatives, and how your police department is enforcing both motorists and cyclists when they're on the road. So there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
There's tough competition out there. All the inner cities are doing a lot of work, wonderful work in Connecticut.
So you're also involved with Simsbury Free Bike.
Yes.
And there's an issue there this year.
There is. We're starting our 9th season. Our director at the shop is retiring after 9 years, so he's done a great job. We have a lot of mechanics, we have some volunteers, but we need someone who we can say can be in charge of those volunteers at the shop level, making sure the bikes are ready for the road in the spring and a few other small activities. So we are recruiting for a shop director. So anyone who's a tinkerer, loves bikes, likes a place to get away to with a bunch of fun volunteers, we'd love to talk to you.
So this is a volunteer job?
It's a volunteer job, yeah.
It's entirely volunteer, okay.
Yeah. It's
Everybody that
dog-friendly.
works for Simsbury Free Bike is a volunteer.
So if you don't find somebody this year, what happens?
We're going to have to figure that out. I don't know. It's been such a nice program for the town, and it's given us such notoriety. And we have other towns trying to mimic what we're doing. For example, in Cheshire, they're actually part of the Simsbury Free Bike Network. We happen to have an advocate in Cheshire who has done just a spectacular job down there trying to get the town of Cheshire to sort of up their game a little bit too when it comes to bike safety.
Just to backtrack just a little bit, Simsbury has this triathlon and now duathlon. How did this get started and why?
Well, we had a Economic Development Commission. They did some research, and one of the findings from this research is the reason people come to Simsbury is because they love being able to recreate here, hiking, biking, and river use. So we thought from an economic development standpoint to get more people to come and enjoy the town. We have so much to do and see here. It was really to showcase our beautiful town.
Yeah, and the proceeds, like we mentioned, the proceeds of the race
Go back into the
go right
trails.
back into the trails.
Right. So on the day of the race, March 5th, that's a Sunday?
Correct.
This year? What is
May.
your role? What did I say? March.
Yeah, it's okay.
We're in March.
I
Yes,
know.
No, it starts with M. Sorry. No, definitely not March.
No, oh my God, I hope it's not.
May 5th. What's your role, each of your roles going to be that day?
As a race director, of course, it's overseeing the volunteers and the committee members to make sure that they're comfortable with their job and they don't have any questions. Actually, the day starts very early for me. I need to get here, and well, Patty always goes out and, like I said, I don't worry about the bike course because she handles that very well. I give her full responsibility for that, but she'll go out and make sure the bike course is everything's set the way there's no danger or anything on the course. I'll make sure the run portion is it's clear, there wasn't any damage done, that all the signs are still up, the directing participants, go down and check out the river, make sure the river is safe. We have to make sure we have the timing company come in, make sure they know exactly where to to set up their timing, which is timing plus New England, which I should mention. They know where the start and finish line is. Have to make sure that race day registration is set. And like I said, we just do quick sweep of everything on the course. And there's always some little thing that comes up, so we just have to make sure that gets handled.
Puts out fires.
It's always that way.
Yeah.
And where are you?
We start the day obviously earlier this year, but we'll be at the bike shop across from Rotary Park, Iron Horse Trike and E-Bike. We'll be meeting all of our volunteers, handing out all of their materials, their vests and flags and whatnot, making sure we have people in the right places and they know what to do and they're on their bikes, not in their cars trying to drive to their location. And we'll also be down at Rotary Park starting the kids race and doing registration. So and also signing the course so that people know what direction to go in. So that's morning.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of minutes left. I want you just to sum up the new things that are happening this year that people might not know about.
I'm really excited that we added on the Duathlon. And for those people who, like I said, aren't really familiar with Tri Simsbury, first I suggest go to trysimsbury.com to look at our website. But it is a run, 3.5 mile run. It is a 12-mile bike and a 2-mile kayak, which makes it an exciting, fun adventure. And the run is through the meadows. So it's on the fields. It's a gentle run. And then, like I said, the duathlon, which we're happy about that. The kids race, which I think is going to be a ton of fun. Kids love to do that, which will be at the Performing Arts Center, a lap around the field.
It's a half a mile.
Yeah, it's a half mile.
About a half mile.
And then the babysitting, we're offering the babysitting, which is, that's free to anybody that needs to use it who's participating in the race. Like we said, everything starts and ends right at the Performing Arts Center. And then it's kind of fun to have an after party as well, so we want people to stay. And then, and we also would love for them to really, hopefully it's going to be a beautiful day, to really to look around Simsbury, to tour Simsbury, to spend the day there.
Going to have to cut you off because our time is up. I want to thank my guests, Patty Smith-Jacobus and Andrea Buono. Good luck to both of you, and good luck to all the participants. And thank you to everyone here at SCTV for getting the show on the air. And finally, thank you for joining us. I'm Dominique Avery.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.